Welcome back, everyone, to the late night review. And tonight is Halloween, so happy Halloween. And I figured last year I did a ranking of all the Halloweens in the Halloween franchise. So tonight I'm going to do a ranking of all the Friday the 13th, the Friday the 13th franchise. And I'm relaxed, I'm just going to enjoy myself. Like I said on other videos, I'm a casual YouTuber. I don't have any script. I just make some mental notes. I might have a script one day. I've actually been thinking about doing certain things that would require a script one day, or maybe a lot of planning. But I'm not sure about that. But so far, I'm just doing this casually. I figured if I don't enjoy it, why do it? Please like and subscribe, by the way. I know you're supposed to wait till the end to say that kind of thing, but uh, like I said, I'm a casual YouTuber, and I hope you like what you're about to see. I hope it entertains you, and I hope one day I get over 1,000 subscribers, because you don't make any money really until you get over 1,000 subscribers. But I'm casual. We'll see what happens. Tonight is Halloween, and I'm going to be ranking the Friday the 13th franchise. And, you know, there's a lot of things going on in the world. I mean, there's so many hot spots. World War III could happen. People are worried about. Uh, no, you wait a second. You don't have to pay. You don't have to pay to watch this. You don't have to pay to get in to watch anything. This video is free, and it's all for you. Damien, it's all for you. No, Halloween, you got to have fun. I mean, people are so, they're worried about inflation, trying to stretch every dollar, trying to make every buck count. And can I have a piece of toast? No, I'm just kidding. But trick or treat, maybe some candy. By the way, Reese's peanut butter cups, oh, so great. Snickers. But yeah, just a little tongue-in-cheek humor. That's all. But everyone has their favorite food. Some people they have a variety. People nowadays are so divided they can hardly enjoy their meals. People are divided. Families are divided. There's a lot of stressful things to think about. So welcome to your place where you don't have to have any stress. Welcome to your escape from the stresses of the world, ladies and gentlemen. Because tonight, this is a place to be, I think. I'm happy when we're all together. But anyway, tonight I'm going to be ranking the Friday the 13th. And I tell you, I've always been a Friday the 13th movie fan because I was raised on them. I used to. I don't think kids at that age should watch these movies when they're really, really young. But I mean, I remember sitting on the floor when my parents and um, not so much my mom, but especially my dad, and then my cousins, my uncles, they were watching a couple of these movies, and I'd be on the floor watching it too. And then, of course, I was taken to the theater to see some of them, as well as the Nightmare movies and the Halloween, which I always really like those franchises. But yeah, I mean, I've seen these movies since I was a kid, except obviously the later installments. I was born in 77. I got a lot of nostalgia, especially for the 80s. And this list is a flowing type list. I mean, I changed it right before this video. I changed I can't believe it. I've said in other videos that 3, 4, and 6 of Friday the 13th are always fighting for my top spot. I made a couple changes, and there's a few changes I've made that surprise me, really surprise me. I rewatched these films recently, taken a look at them. I've also watched really good YouTube video reaction, first time watches to these movies recently, and enjoyed those a lot. And I've seen these movies a ton when I was a kid, especially the early ones. I watched them over and over and over again. And I loved them. I mean, I really liked them. And now my opinion has shifted. My mind has been changed a little bit, but in a way, I'm kind of going back to what I used to think about these films. And so much has come back to me. So without further ado, I'm going to start ranking them. And I got, I just put the list together, so I can't just go on memory. I'll be looking right here. I got the list because I just put it together. And I'm going to go from worst to first, the one I least like to the one I like the very best. And I have to say at the beginning, I don't hate any of the Friday the 13th movies. I really don't. I can find enjoyment in all of them, even the one at the bottom of the list. And coming in, there's 12 movies, and coming in at number 12, the one I like the least is Jason Goes to Hell. And he didn't really go to hell until the end. I was hoping to see more of hell. Uh, and they had a nice little part at the end where Freddy grabs the mask and everything. When it first came out, I liked it. But as years have gone by, it's always went down in my rankings. And frankly, it's really the only one that I purposely try to avoid watching nowadays. I mean, I still kind of like it, but I'm bored with it. I get really, really bored, and I there's not much Jason. That's one of the problems I have with it is you don't see Jason very much in here, and the Jason in here looks good, but you don't see very much of Jason in here, and that was disappointing to me. And if they would have done what Exorcist 3 did, where this Gemini killer's jumping from body to body, then this movie would have been a lot better if they would have done it that way. Because they did have Jason going from body to body, but they didn't execute it well, really, really great like Exorcist 3 did. Even if they would have came close to that, it would have been a much better movie. So coming in at number 12 is Jason Goes to Hell. And next is The New Beginning. Friday the 13th, Part 5, The New Beginning. Now, I seen this at the theater. I seen 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 at the theater, and got a lot of nostalgia for pretty much all the Friday the 13th, except the ones that came late. But I always liked this one. It wasn't Jason. I remember when I was a kid, I was disappointed that it wasn't Jason. But through the movie, you can kind of tell something's wrong. He's not as powerful. He's not moving as strong and as fast, and there's something wrong. But it's a pretty good addition to the franchise. It's dropped over the years for me. Yes, I have nostalgia for it, but for some reason I'm kind of bored when I watch it nowadays. I still get enjoyment from all these movies, but it's coming in at number 11, and I do have a lot of nostalgia for it, and it does have a lot of stuff in it that reminds me of 3 and 4, but I like 3 and 4 a lot better. Talk about those movies later, but this is coming in at my number 11, which surprised me a little bit going into this list. I thought it would be ranked a little higher in terms of how much I like it. But yeah, coming in at number 11 is The New Beginning. Coming in at number 10 is Jason Takes a Boat to Manhattan at the very end. Long boat ride. No. I still enjoy this movie. I still like this movie. It's obviously not one of my favorites. I think it has one of the best kills, if not the best kill. I like where Julius fights him on the building and gets a lot of shots in. He punched Jason more than anyone ever. And I enjoy that scene. There's quite a few scenes in here that I think are good, but that one really stands out to me. I wish they would have spent a lot more time in the city. And then at the end of the fight, of course, Jason hits him, knocks his head off. I mean, that's probably the best kill in the Friday the 13th franchise, or one of them. But I always enjoyed this movie, but it is disappointing. I wish he would have got to the city sooner. The look of Jason, I think, is okay. It's not as good as a lot of the other looks that I've seen, but I'm okay with it. It could have been better. So this is coming in at number 10, and coming in at number 9 is Jason X or Jason 10, Friday the 13th Part 10, but it's called Jason X. I had fun with this one. When I put this list together, I thought it might be number 10 and Manhattan maybe number 1, but actually I put Manhattan number 10 and this number 9. Number 1, I mean number 9 is what I meant to say. So I thought this would be number 10, but it's not Jason 10, Jason 10. But I thought it would be 10, but it's number 9 for me. The reason I almost put Manhattan ahead of this is because it does have more of the original stuff from the early Friday the 13th in it. And I have nostalgia for that. So I thought it would be ahead of it. But actually I have more fun. It's more fresh. Maybe I've seen Manhattan so many times that I got bored with it. If I do another ranking in the future, this list might be changed around a lot. So the next list, if I ever do it in the future, might be totally different. But yeah, I think this is original. It's interesting. I think it has some funny parts. Jason in here looks really good. And I think that it entertains me. I actually now, when I was a kid, I actually went for the more disturbing, scary movies. But as an adult, I I want to be entertained more and more. And for some people it's the opposite, but for me as I get older, I like movies. I mean, if your movie entertains me, it'll go way up. It'll skyrocket. Even if it's not very well done, it'll skyrocket. And so I'm putting Jason 10 or Jason X at number 9. And number 8 is, this might disappoint some people, but I have a lot of nostalgia for a lot of the older Friday the 13th. So I'm putting Friday the 13th, 2009, the remake, at number 8. And the reason for that is, I've grown to like this movie. When it first came out, I kind of liked it. I turned it off at one point because I was irritated. One thing about me, and yes, if you have obnoxious characters in your movie and then later they get taken out, that is some solace, but it's never enough for me because it's fake. They don't really get taken out. No, but it's not real. Their behavior, their words really come out, but the blood is fake. Just kidding. But no, but that is true. So I'd rather have, in my personal, now if the person only lives 5 minutes, then I can live with that. But if it's for 20, 30 minutes and so I turned it off. The first 15 minutes I was happy. I mean, it was well done. There was a couple scenes in there that I thought were unnecessary and that were a little irritating. But besides that, I think it was good for the first 15 minutes, 20 minutes. Give or take. And it was really, Derek Mears is awesome as Jason. He's one of the best Jasons ever. It's a shame they didn't make more right after the 2009, so he could have been in more back then. I guess there was some court issues involved with copyright and Friday the 13th, the franchise in general, that I haven't really kept track of. But he's a great Jason. I thought the sack head at the beginning, it was really awesome. I thought the first 20 minutes was the best 20 minutes, one of the best 20 minutes, and the first part of it, the opening of that movie, was probably one of the best in any horror franchise. That being said, it took a while for me to get used to this one, and it's a good addition to the franchise. The reason it's not higher is because, like I said earlier, if a movie entertains me and it's fun, it'll go up for me more than the disturbing stuff and the scary stuff. Like when I was a kid, if it was disturbing and scary, it'd go way up. Now for me, I've changed where if it's entertaining and I enjoy myself more, rather than being disturbed and a little irritated, I'd rather be enjoyed, or I'd rather be filled with joy and experience something that makes me, pumped and have a good time. That would go way up for me. So this one, it's scarier and more disturbing than many in the franchise, but entertainment value and just having a good time is more important to me than that nowadays. Maybe not when I was a teenager, but nowadays it is. So it's coming in at number 8, and maybe next year or later it'll be higher for me. I have to say this too, the look of Jason, I don't really care for in this one. Now, Derek Mears' look his build was perfect for this. Everything he did, his body language, how he portrayed the character, and his acting through body language was awesome. But the mask blended in with the head. It was almost the same color as the neck and the head, and it blended in. And I don't like that much. I like when the mask is a little more distinct and showcased more. The clothes was okay, but I didn't care for it that much. So the look of Jason I had a problem with. Now when he had the mask off, scary. That was interesting. If they would have had some scenes with him taking people out with the mask off, I think that would have made the movie even better. But yeah, and some of the characters in here very irritating. There's a few characters I like though, some, and I this has gone up for me though, so I've gotten used to certain things in it. It's gone up. Maybe it'll grow on me over time, but right now I'm putting it in at number 8, the 2009 Friday the 13th. Coming in at number 7 is the original Friday the 13th Part 1, the classic. Now, a lot of people might even have this lower than I did, but I genuinely think this is one of the horror classics of all time. I've rewatched it. I've seen it a ton when I was a kid, but I rewatched it recently. And the way they build the tension, I don't mind the darkness. I actually think the darkness makes it more scary. The woods, the shadows, and when there's a door open or there's a cabin and you see it dark in a corner, you don't know where the killer is. The score is good. I mean, it's a Friday the 13th score. It's one of the most distinct and memorable scores in horror history. And Betsy Palmer does a great job. I think everyone in here does a good job. I think Adrienne King, if I remember her name right, Adrienne King is a good final girl. Actually, I think she's likable. I don't think she's irritating or does things like other people and other characters in the franchise do to turn me off and say, this person, I wish they'd get taken out. No, I actually like her. I like her as a final girl, and I think she did a fine job. I think everyone in here did their Kevin Bacon. He was in here. Old Ralph. I think I like this movie. Got a lot of nostalgia for it for this movie too. And when Jason came up at the end, that was awesome, memorable. And I remember my uncles, and then I think a couple of cousins. Everyone jumped when he came up out of the end. At the end of the movie, I saw this when I was just a little kid. I was born in '77. I was sitting on the floor watching it. So I remember him coming out. The way they build the tension in Friday the 13th Part 1, the way that they hint that something is about to happen is really well done. It's Hitchcockian, except maybe even more. It is a horror classic in my opinion. I like the way the camp looks. One of the reasons I like this one, and then most of the Friday the 13th, is I like nature. I love the forest setting, and I think they do a really good job in here. And it's coming in at number 7, Friday the 13th Part 1. Coming in at number 6 is Friday the 13th Part 2. And basically it's very similar to the first one, but Jason's doing the killing. And I like it. I enjoy it. I have nostalgia for it. It entertains me. So that's why, he's got the sackhead look in here, but you can't compare it really to the remake. 2009, the way he looked was much more menacing and much more frightening. In here, not so much. But I have to say, in here, I think he looks fine. I don't have a problem with it because it reminds me of a movie that I've seen when I was a kid quite a bit, The Town That Dreaded Sundown. So Friday the 13th Part 2, Jason reminds me of the Phantom in The Town That Dreaded Sundown. So that's kind of one reason I like it. I understand those who don't. I really do. But I like this movie, and I like John Fury. I like Amy Steele. I like the cast in here. I really like the kids in here. I like the people in here, adults playing kids. But I like them all in here, and that goes a long way in making my list. If it wants to go higher on my list, if I like the cast, I like the people, they're not off-putting, and I'm not irritated, don't feel like turning it off, it'll go way up. So that's one of the reasons this is above the remake. The remake is scarier, it's more disturbing. Well, it's scarier for the most part. It's more disturbing, it's dark, It's interesting. They got a twist in there where Jason, he kidnaps someone, puts him down underground. He's kind of living underground. And that's a good twist. But the reason this is higher than the remake is because it genuinely, I have a good time. It's kind of hard to have your popcorn smile when a girl's trapped down there and she could die and she's crying and she's enchained. It's kind of hard to smile and have your popcorn. Even though I don't have popcorn nowadays, it's probably Doritos. Mm. But yeah, so this one, I'm more entertained by it. It makes me have a good time more. So that's why Friday the 13th Part 2 is my number 6. My number 5 is Freddy versus Jason. I saw this at the theater. My dad and we saw it at the theater. And I think it's a worthy addition to the franchise. There's some characters in here that are off-putting, but they're pretty much taken out later. There's one scene where a guy gets killed in a bed, and then Jason folds the bed and he's in half, which was good because he was an obnoxious character, but good actor because he did a good job, made you believe it. But this is a good installment of the franchise. They're together. Freddy and Jason are together. Two of my favorites of all time. Two decent men, hardworking men who make the world a better place. Two evil men. Two very evil men. The evil men you love to hate. But Robert Englund, horror icon, I tell you. Just a modern day Boris Karloff, Vincent Price, Bela Lugosi, a horror legend, and his legacy will be cemented forever that way, whether we like it or not. No. But yeah, I really like Robert Englund. To see him and Jason together, Freddy and Jason, is just awesome. The fighting in here, I think, is interesting. The story is good. Yeah, I think all around this is entertaining. I had a good time at the theater. And there's certain scenes in here that, a couple scenes irritated me. There's a few things in here that are disturbing, but it's a horror movie, so what do you expect? And it's I wrote it right down here. It's unscripted, folks. Freddy versus Jason is my number 5. And coming in at number 4, now this one surprised me. I thought this would be battling. This is shocking to me, actually. I thought it would be battling for my number 1, 2, or 3. And remember, I said in other videos, 3, 4, and 6 are always battling for my top spot. That's not the case right now, but it might be next year. I tell you, I've gone back and forth with the Friday the 13th movies so much, probably more than any franchise, as to which one I like the best. And then totally unrelated is my Bruce Lee ranking. I did a Bruce Lee movie ranking, which is totally a different category. I went back and forth on those movies too, because I love them all. But I've gone back and forth before I put this list together. It took me a long time. And coming in at number 4 is Friday the 13th, Part 4. And this shocked me. This really, really surprised me, because it's always fighting for my number 1 spot. And it's one of my favorites. Maybe next year it'll be higher. And it's Ted White is one of my favorite Jasons of all time. I think him and Richard Brooker are always fighting for my top spot. I like Richard Brooker and Ted White. Probably but Derek Mears, if he would have been given more Jasons, more Friday the 13th, he's right up there. But Kane Hodder, C.J. Graham, there's so many I like. But this movie is a movie that I have nostalgia for. Saw it at the theater, and it's always been one of my favorites, fighting for my top spot. So I'm surprised I put it in at number 4 this time. I really am. Friday the 13th 4 coming in at number 4. It's really a great addition to the franchise, the final chapter. And coming in at number 3 is Friday the 13th Part 3. Richard Brooker playing Jason. And this movie is another movie I have a lot of nostalgia for. And the reason I put this, now this is surprising, I think, to me too, because it's not as a fast pace as Part 4. It's actually slow at certain points. But I actually have a little bit more fun with Friday the 13th, part three, oddly enough. Most people would choose part four in a millisecond above part three. But part three, I have a little bit more. It's more in my comfort zone. There's certain scenes in part, like nowadays, I'll tell you the truth. When I was a kid, I looked for more disturbing, shocking, scary stuff when I was a kid. My friends and I, we wanted to see the latest shocking thing, like Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer, the first Texas Chainsaw Massacre. We watched other movies that kids should never watch just to be shocked. But now as I've gotten older, I'm not into that much anymore. I like movies that entertain me. And actually, part three is one I can more relax with. You know, part four is a great one. It has some excellent kills in there, but when the nurse gets gutted and he holds her like that, you know, I'm not smiling and saying, "Get her, Jason, get her, do it for mommy," or whatever, or daddy or whoever. You know, I'm not like that. I when he gutted the nurse, you know, I felt sorry for her. There's certain scenes in certain movies that are kind of off-putting, but I like Friday the 13th part 4, but I like part 3 better. And there's the guy he's standing on his hands, he gets cut in half, but it doesn't last as long. And I felt more sorry for the nurse than I felt for him. So, you know, as I get older, I'm more into the entertainment value and more into the kind of my comfort zone and what I enjoy to have a good time by. So that's why I put 3 ahead of 4. Love Richard Brooker. I actually think when the mask is off in 3 and 4, that's the scariest Jason we've ever had. 3, 4, and those are the 2 scariest Jasons ever to me. Part 3 is coming in at number 3. Now, one of the things that shocked me the most about this is the next one. Coming in at number 2 is Friday the 13th, Part 7, The New Blood. And this surprised me. Now, when I was a kid, it was my favorite. Part 6 was my favorite, and then when Part 7 came out, it was my favorite because she had the powers, she fought Jason and all that. Over time, it's dropped in my rankings, and actually it ended up kind of low over the years. And I think that's because I didn't watch it as much and I kind of got away from it. But for some reason, this movie, and I loved it when I was a kid, but over the years I didn't. I liked it though. But recently I watched it again, and by the way, I might have to speed things up here a little bit. Well, I'm back, folks. What happened was is I had full battery. I came prepared. I came prepared. No, I had full battery, and it was fine. But my memory ran out, so I had to put that video on, back it up with an SD card. So I'm going to continue this Friday the 13th list. I was at the New Blood Friday the 13th Part 7 came in at number 2 for me, and that surprised me. It really surprised me because it's I've gone back and forth on this one a lot, and but recently I watched it and it just it took me back. It took me back to the nostalgia. It took me back to the reasons why I always liked it. You have Tina, and if I don't know if you noticed, but I was trying to speed things up because I kind of thought that memory might run out, but I wasn't sure, so I was speeding up the list so it wouldn't. But it's okay. I backed it up on SD card, so unscripted. I'm just relaxing, trying to have fun with this YouTube thing. Hopefully, one day I'll get over 1,000 subscribers because you don't make any money unless you do, and you know I like to be paid for my work, even though I'm casual. So we'll see. I'll just take it as it comes. I got other things going on in my life, and YouTube is not a necessary thing for me. But I enjoy bringing you these videos and making them, and hope to do more in the future. So please like and subscribe and share this video so other people can see this wonderful content. And I'm expressing myself. I don't want to be like others, just to take a second here from the list and just say something to the audience out there. This is a Friday the 13th list that I'm doing, a Friday the 13th movie ranking for Halloween. Happy Halloween. But I want to honestly express myself. I don't want to copy anyone else. I don't want to try to do what others have done just to be successful. I'm doing this because I originally started as just wanted to show my art on this channel. It was supposed to be just about my art. Excuse me. And that's why it's called Doorway to the Paintings rather than Doorway to the Films. So it was all about my art. I just figured, I don't really want a YouTube channel, but I put my art on here just to so more people could see it. I figured it'd be a shame not to show more people my art. I really like my art, so that's why I started the YouTube channel, but never got many views. So started doing movie reviews and got more views, had a good time with it, enjoy making these videos. So I'm going to try to keep it up. It depends on how many views and subscribers I get in the future, but I enjoy it and want to do more. So, but back to the list, Friday the 13th movie ranking for this Halloween. Last year I did the Halloween franchise. This year's Friday the 13th. You can check both videos out. That was kind of funny, that other one. But the new Blood, Friday the 13th, Part 7, The New Blood, has just gone back up for me because the story, Carrie versus Jason, basically. Tina, she's got these powers, telekinesis. She can move things. She fights Jason at the end. So more than a match for Jason, more than a match, and does a great job. She's a beautiful person. She's decent. She's in this movie, she's on the side of good, and Jason's obviously on the side of evil. But I notice they're both outcasts. Jason's an outcast. As a kid, he was deformed. He's always been deformed. Looked different. He drowned. He was a victim. And Tina's an outcast too. But Jason's on the side of darkness. Tina's on the side of light, as portrayed in this movie. And uses her powers for good. Jason uses his strength for evil. But I've always said that Jason's not as evil as Freddy because Jason was born with a disability and mentally challenged. Freddy wasn't. Freddy is devious. He knows more about what he's doing. But Tina, she is a good character. I think she's a decent character, honest. She's the good girl. It's kind of the original formula, the good girl being the final girl at the end. And not only is she a great final girl, but all around, she hurts Jason. She has these powers. So I think she's one of the best final girls because of her powers and because, I like her character. I think she's a good character. She's not obnoxious. She doesn't go overboard with certain things and irritate you to death like some of the other characters in this franchise. And I think she does a good job. I think Tina's one of the best characters in the Friday the 13th franchise. And I can kind of relax now since I don't have to worry about the memory of my phone. I'm using my phone, but I think it's a very good horror movie. You have Jason doing his thing. You have some of the best kills. The sleeping bag kill in here is interesting. I tell you, it's one of the best. People always talk about it. You have pretty much everything a Friday the 13th fan would want in this movie. You got the forest. You got Jason looking awesome. Maybe the best look or one of the best looks in the whole franchise. You got for comedy, you got Dr. Cruz, the brave Dr. Cruz. For your comedy relief. His personality can make anyone laugh. And he really knows how to stand in front and take the shot for the winning team, doesn't he? And he's got a good grip. No, but anyway, Dr. Cruz, I've seen his, I think it's Terry Kaiser. I've seen him in other movies and I've always enjoyed him. He plays a horrible character in here, just a bad guy in here, manipulative, selfish, cowardly, everything. But for some reason he makes me laugh, and I've seen him in other movies where he was a good guy. He was a good guy in An Eye for an Eye with Chuck Norris, an early Chuck Norris movie, a movie I love. I've seen him in, there was I think he was in Weekend at Bernie's. I never seen the movie, but I've seen little parts of it. Weekend at Bernie's. He was in this one movie with C. Thomas Howell and some other actors. I forgot their names. I'm sorry, but it was kind of a beach volleyball sports movie. And he was in there too. And I've seen him in various other TV shows too. I think Walker, Texas Ranger. I've always enjoyed him. So he makes me laugh in here. He's just a bad character. He plays a bad guy, but I kind of love to hate him in this movie. and he's a great actor, I think. But Tina, great character, has got her powers. So you have Jason doing his thing in here, what Friday the 13th fans would want. I actually heard there was a cut that's even more gory than this, but it was censored. Who knows what else? I mean, who knows what it could have been if it was released? But yeah, she's more than a match for Jason. You have decent scenery in here. You have a great look for Jason, the telekinesis powers. I think it pretty much is a complete package. That's just one of the reasons it's gone up for me recently. It went up and down throughout my life. I loved it when I was a kid. As an adult, it went down. Now I like it again, like I used to. I really do. And I think I'm happy that there was a light character, kind of a good character to fight Jason. I think that's one of the main reasons it's gone up for me recently. So coming in at number one, and there's only one left, this was my favorite when I was a kid, and it became my favorite again later. And then I went to 3 and 4. And now this surprised me too, even though not as much as part 7 and some of the others that surprised me on this list. But Jason Lives Friday the 13th Part 6. I got the most nostalgia, I think, for this movie, more than any. I was taken to the theater to see this. I had a blast. Jason is so powerful in here. I love the graveyard scene. I love when they dig him up. Tom Matthews does a good job. This is the first time I ever seen Tom Matthews, and my cousin showed me a movie called Return of the Living Dead. It became one of the funniest movies I've ever seen. I got a dark sense of humor. It's actually funnier than most comedies, especially the comedies that come out nowadays. If you want to call them comedies, sometimes I nickname them irritants. They're kind of irritants instead of comedies. Not all of them. There's great comedies in every generation, but most of them nowadays, I think they come off rather as obnoxious and kind of off-putting. And by the way, when you're done cringing, can you like and subscribe for me, please? No, but please like and subscribe if you like the content. Share this video. Da 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 da. But Friday the 13th, Part 6. He comes back to the life similar to Frankenstein. Powerful. And I was going to say something, but I better not. But he comes back more powerful than ever, like Tom Matthews said himself, Tommy Jarvis. Great Tommy Jarvis portrayal. And I think, yeah, the guy in Welcome Back, Kotter, he got killed at the beginning. He was Tom Matthews' partner, Tommy Jarvis's partner. Associate partner. But anyway, that was one of the best kills. He put his hand through him. Jason comes back, and when he stood out of the tomb, he stood next to Tommy Jarvis, or in front of him, and Tommy Jarvis is trying to light the match to set him on fire because he put gasoline. When the worms start dropping off, and you have the graveyard scene with the cross in the background, the tombstones, and Jason just standing there in the rain, what an iconic look. And then you have the 007 opening where he's walking and he turns around and he slashes like 007. It was the funnest. It's the funnest Friday the 13th. That's one of the reasons I like it. It's everything I want in a Friday the 13th film. He's powerful, menacing. He's strong, probably more powerful than any movie in the franchise. Strength, power. He was brought back like Frankenstein, and that was, you can see an Easter egg in here. He's a Karloff General something. When he wants his girlfriend to pick him up, Tom Matthews says, this is Karloff, this someplace, so it was a homage to Boris Karloff, Frankenstein. The electricity, lightning bringing Jason to life. He's powerful, that kills in here. The fight with the sheriff, he folds the sheriff in half, the sheriff who was gallantly fought him to the end, did his duty. What a great job he did against Jason. He's trying to protect his daughter, Megan. And I had the most fun with this movie. This was the funnest to me, in my opinion. I thought the look of Jason was actually really good. I understand some who don't like it, kind of the Weyerhaeuser look. But I really liked it, actually. And plus, I have a lot of memories and nostalgia for it. So just looking up at that screen, nostalgia is nostalgia. When you got it, you got it. I actually liked the look of Jason. The clothes were similar to 3 and 4. And since those are two of my favorites of all time, he had webs on him. He was decayed, but the green shirt and kind of the light colored pants were still, those were similar to 3 and 4. The utility belt he got from either the paintball guys, the guys he killed. They were doing the paintball war game, and he cut their heads off. I think he got the utility belt from one of them. I know he got the machete from one of them. And in terms of the gloves, he got those gloves from Tommy Jarvis. So it all made sense. He got the gloves from Tommy Jarvis. He got the spear from the fence at the graveyard. And the belt he didn't have on when he killed the people in the VW bug. He didn't have the belt on. He had the belt on later, so I'm sure he got that from those who were playing the paintball game out in the forest. So yeah, he was pretty unstoppable in here, and it was funny when that trailer was rocking up and down. You know what they were doing in there. It was funny. My uncle, who was a minister, I begged him to take me to see it. So when that scene came on in the theater, I cracked up so much, but so did everyone else. I think almost everyone cracked a smile on that one. But I know I had the funnest time with this. And over the years, I've always liked it. 3 and 4 kind of crept up on it, so I went back to 3 and 4. That's because I kind of got out of the habit of watching this one. But once I got back into the habit of watching it, especially recently, as you can see, it brings out something in me. But it was my favorite over time. It was fighting for my It was fighting for my top spot between 3, 4, and 6. Now it's back at number 1. I'm surprised the New Blood is at my number 2 now. That might change later. I might be in a different mood, and it might be back down at 5 or whatever. Who knows? But that's my Friday the 13th list. Friday the 13th, Jason Lives. Friday the 13th, Part 6 is my number 1 this year. Anyway, so I hope you enjoyed this ranking on Halloween night. And if you're at home, good for you. If you're going home, be safe, be careful, watch out, watch those roads out there. Watch out for the phantoms, the ghosts, the goblins. Say your prayers at night if you want to for safety. Protect yourself from Jason, the werewolves, and all the vampires. And so happy Halloween. Watch the big giveaway at 9. No, I'm just kidding. That's another movie. Halloween 3 is one of my favorite movies of all time. But very great movie to me. But anyway, everybody, this has been my Halloween ranking. Friday the 13th franchise. This time last year I did the Halloween franchise. Don't forget to check that out. So have a good night. Be safe on this Halloween. Take care, everybody. Thanks for joining me.